Okay, it is time. Let's get started. Here we go. Oh, where's that thing? There it is. Hey everybody, happy Saturday. Happy Halloween. I don't know if you guys are dressing up, but of course I had to dress up in like multiple costumes for all of the kids' piano classes. So for this class, I'm going to just take it easy and wear like a nice black sweater. But anywho, I'm just so glad that you could join me today for piano. We're going to have a lot of fun and we're learning some really interesting things. We have some new intervals we're going to learn, both melodically and harmonically. So I hope you're ready. First thing though, if you could please like this video and share this video with your network. Every single like and share helps me. And I know you know that I need as much help as I can get, okay? The next thing is subscribe on YouTube. You guys probably know the drill by now. Go ahead and search Izzy Chia and you'll find my channel, and that way you have a chance to re-watch any of the adult and teen piano lessons whenever you need to. So go ahead and subscribe, okay? The next thing is if you haven't joined the private group, now would be a really good time to do so, because that way you can start reaping the benefits of learning these lessons with me. I give you feedback, so you post videos of yourself playing your songs for the week, and I will help you through each and every tricky spot that you encounter, okay? Just search Encore Music Makers. You'll find it on the Groups tab of the main Facebook page, okay? I'll see you soon in there. And lastly, of course, we've got our Patreon page, right? So some of you, I know some of you adults have already requested that I start providing private lessons, okay? I have a new tier, and it will be premiering tomorrow, November 1st. And I will have limited spots in this tier available, but it will help provide 2 private sessions with me every single month. So if that's the tier that you want and you want that undivided attention from me, that's the tier you want to choose. If that one ends up being a little bit over the budget that you've set aside for piano, take a look at some of my other tiers that you may want to join, okay? Patreon.com/IzzyChia. I'd love to have you. All right, so let's get started with some piano music, okay? So last week we had learned a song called Lone Star Waltz. And this is a great song because it taught us all about parallel sixths, right? So these are harmonic sixths in both the right hand and the left hand in order to understand how they move across the keyboard, right? So you've internalized or used muscle memory to leave your hand in that interval of a harmonic sixth, and it allows you to travel all over the keyboard, okay? So let's see if we can take a look at that song and pass it today, okay? We're gonna do it with the da capo al fine, so be very aware of that, okay? Let's do our best. Okay, so I am gonna turn my page here. We're gonna turn to, let's see here, page 90, okay? I didn't show you up there, so I'll show you like this. Page 90, okay? You'll see Lone Star Waltz there at the bottom. Okay? So let's go ahead and play through our Lone Star Waltz. Remember to keep that right foot on the right damper pedal, okay? We do have that da capo al fine when we get to the end of page 2. So when we repeat, we need to make sure that both of our hands are an octave higher on that second time through, okay? Let's give this a try. Ready? We're in C position. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. Shift our position. Left hand. That was lovely. We really did a great job remembering all of those things that made this song super special. So great work if you happen to get through all of that with me. If you didn't, that's okay too, right? Remember, every person's piano journey is different, right? If this gave you a lot of trouble, just keep it for a week, right? If you need to give that extra time into those elements that make it special, that's okay. That's why this is a self-paced piano course, all right? Well, bravo. Today's lesson, we're going to learn about some really cool stuff. So we've got some new intervals that we're going to learn. And they're pretty awesome because they're the last two intervals, basically, that we learn in our level 1 piano, okay? So the first interval is the interval of a seventh, okay? We've done our sixths. Now we're opening our hand even larger to the interval of a seventh, okay? You're going to be skipping 5 white keys to get a seventh, okay? Intervals of a seventh are going to be written line note to line note or space note to another space note. So using that skill of reading the staff, if you can see that they're very far apart, the notes are, and it's a line note to a line note, 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be the interval of a seventh, okay? Same thing goes with space notes that are very far apart. If they're oddly far apart and they're space note to space note, then you probably think it's going to be a seventh, okay? Now, it's pretty cool, the sevenths, right? But we have one more interval. The interval of an octave, right? So you have the prefix oct, right? Which is 8 in Latin, right? So you also have the octave being 8 notes. Now, the beautiful thing about an octave is that when we are here at the piano with our musical notes, it's basically going from one note and going to the very next note that's the same. That in itself is going to be 7 notes apart, and that will be an octave. You'll hear that the tones are the same, okay? So it's really, really wonderful. And octaves, very far apart. They're written line note to space note, or space note to line note, okay? Let's see if we can explore this a little bit more. Go ahead and turn to page 92, okay? 92. You'll see I bracketed off the last 4 lines of music there. We're gonna go over these lines, okay? Because these are gonna be your warm-ups for this week, okay? We are gonna begin by remembering our right hand melodic intervals, right? So we know everything from a second all the way to an octave now. So that top line of music on page 92, it's found sort of in the middle of your book. We're going to play through it, okay? It's a series of half notes, all right? So let's start in C position. I'll switch to piano view and let's play this warm-up line together. Here we go. Lots of fun stuff. So I've got my right hand thumb on middle C. I'm going to count off, and you notice there it's written 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then octave, okay? Let's see how it sounds. You ready? 1, 2, ready, play. C, D, that's a second. That's a third. That's a fourth. That's a fifth. Stretch to an A, that's a sixth. Up to a B, that's a seventh. Up to the next C, that's an octave. Oh, that sounds really great. All right, wonderful. Now, I really, really enjoyed that. Let's see now what it sounds like when we play these intervals harmonically, right? So now with harmonic intervals, you know you're going to be playing them at the same time. I really want you to use your ears because there's certain intervals that you hear that may sound kind of ugly, right? That's okay, all right? Some of them don't sound so great and others sound really nice, okay? But use those listening skills. We're going to talk about why some of them sound kind of weird, okay? Let's switch back to piano view. All right, now the second line here that you see says right hand harmonic intervals. Okay, we're going to begin with the interval of a second. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Second, 2, 3, 4, to a third, 2, 3, 4, stretch to a fourth, and a fifth, 2, 3, up to a sixth, and a seventh, and on an octave. Wow, you can really stretch that pinky up there, huh? How does it feel? Is that very comfortable for you guys? Sometimes it's hard to stretch up our pinky that far, but with practice, it's going to be easier and easier. Now, did you hear those intervals that sounded kind of weird? They sounded like a headache or something, or like nails on a chalkboard. Yeah, do you know what the word dissonant means? Okay, so dissonance is basically when you have two notes that are played and they don't really sound quite right, okay? In our ears, dissonant notes need to be resolved, which means that you have this feeling that they need to sound better or prettier, or they have to be solved. It's like a problem that needs fixing, right? So here's an example of a dissonant interval. Listen. It's kind of freaky, right? Kind of scary, yeah. So that's the interval of a seventh, right? That seventh is a dissonant chord, okay? It has the feeling of needing to get better or to be fixed, okay? In order for us to fix that, we go to our next interval right next to it, right? The other interval we learned today, you remember the octave? Yeah. Listen to what the octave sounds like. Well, that's better, isn't it? Listen. Lovely. So they're the same notes, C to C. All right, now listen to the bad one or the scary one. The nice one. The freaky one. The nice one. Okay? These are trends that you need to start listening for in your music. Some chords in your music will be dissonant. Others will be consonant, right? Dissonance, consonants, okay? You're going to notice these trends as we continue learning our music, okay? Now let's explore the left hand, okay? We've got melodic intervals and harmonic intervals that we need to go over at the bottom of page 92. So I'll switch to piano view and let's go over those, okay? Let's do it. Okie dokes. So we are here. I've got my left hand pinky on C. There it is. And we are going to begin with our melodic intervals. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. That's a second. Up a third. Up a fourth. Up a fifth. Up a sixth. Go up a seventh. Up the octave. That's really lovely. I like melodic intervals like sevenths and octaves in my left hand. It just feels very natural to me. Now let's try the bottom line of music on page 92. We've got harmonic intervals. Ready? Let's count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Second, 2, and a third, 2, 3, 4, and a fourth. Now a fifth. Sixth, 2, 3, 4, to a seventh, 2, 3, 4, and an octave, 2, 3, 4. Now that was magnificent. It really enjoy those harmonic intervals in my left hand. It's just something about a harmonic in my left that just makes me feel like I'm really learning like the building blocks of chords and stuff like that. And that opens the door to so many more songs in music. It'll be really fun down the line, trust me. Now, you'll notice on page 93 there really isn't any song to practice. That's actually going to be your theory page, okay? I'm going to remind you of that a little bit later though. So let's turn the page to 94, okay? So let's take a peek. On 94, you're going to find a song called Cafe Vienna, okay? Vienna. That's always one of those cities that I've wanted to visit in Austria, right? That's like, Mozart Central, right? Everything is Mozart over there. I think they even have the museum there that I would love to visit one day. So anyway, we have on page 94 Cafe Vienna, okay? This says it's going to be a moderate waltz tempo, okay? So we're back into another waltz, just like last week, right? But last week was Lone Star Waltz, which is kind of like, kind of cute and hokey. But Cafe Vienna, we're going to emulate a Viennese waltz, right? So it's a lot more dignified, I guess you could say. Dignified if you think so. But it just needs to be nice and even in the tempo and the rhythm so that any dancers who may be dancing to this song don't start tripping up on their dresses and falling flat on their faces. All right? So looking here at Cafe Vienna, we're in a 3/4 time because that is standard waltz time, right? We have some really interesting fingers and some really interesting intervals, right? So now that we've learned the interval of a seventh and an octave, we are going to be encountering these in our music a lot more frequently. So it's going to be imperative that you can read on the staff what is happening with your notes, okay? We have an interesting pattern in the left hand. It's a classic waltz pattern. It's an pa, pa pattern, okay? So that might be something that won't require a whole lot of work, okay? Because I noticed here that we've got 1 chords and then we've got a G7 chord. So it's not so bad. Most of the work's going to be in the right hand then, okay? We have interesting dynamics through the whole song, big crescendos. And then the very last line we have a ritardando, so we're going to slow down. And we end with some pedal and a fermata sign, okay? So the fermata sign, just a quick reminder, the fermata is like a dramatic pause in music, right? You get to the end and you're just going to hold it until you feel like it's time to end it, right? So that's the feeling that you want to get at the end of this song, okay? Now, let's learn our right hand, okay? I'll switch to piano view and let's go over our notes to start. Here we go. Okie dokes. So, looking here, we're in C position. I know this because I see a finger 2 on my E. That's my first note, right? So that naturally places my hand in a C position. I'll just leave my thumb there on C because I notice that that goes down a third. So I'm going to skip my D. There's nothing there. Okay? So let's see how this goes. I have my finger 4 on my G. Ready? I'm going to say my note names and go through the whole song. It's 4 lines. So keep up as best as you can. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. E, C, G, G, E, C, A, E, C, B, A, G, D, F, D, F, F, D, B, A, G, D, F, D, F, F, D, B, A, G, E, E. Ooh, keep going. Now we're going to switch back to line 3, finger 2 on E. E, C, G, G, E, C, A, E, C, B, A, G, D, F, D, F, F, D, B, A, G, D, F, D, F. Now pinky on G. G, F, E, D, C, up the octave to C, Really nice. Yeah, it is a tricky song though. We're going to have to play this again. We're going to play it again, okay? Don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Now, let me see if we can play this once more, okay? I'm going to slow it down a little bit because I don't think I really realized that it was that quick. So let's try it again a little bit more slowly. I'm going to say my note names again, right? I can't say finger numbers anymore, really, because we're at the level now to where we have to understand that finger numbers, it can be detrimental to our piano instruction and our piano growth, that we over-rely on our finger numbers in our music. Now is the time that we're going to have to start analyzing exactly where things are on the staff, okay? Because the notes will never change, woo! But finger numbers will. You notice that from the very beginning, okay? Let's go through it again with our note names, okay? Keep up as best as you can. I'm going to slow it down, okay? Let's play it through again. Right hand of Cafe Vienna. Here we go. I like this song though. It's kind of nice. Kind of makes me want to dance, right? So let's see here. Starting with that finger 2 on E. It stretches finger 1 down to C. And then my 4 is on my G. Okay? Follow in your music or watch extra carefully my fingers as we do this. Okay? I will be saying the note names. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready. And play. E, C, G, G, E, C, A, E, C, B, A, G, D, F, D, F, F, D, B, A, G, D, F, D, F, F, D, B, A, G, E. Now finger 2 on E again. E, C, G, G, E, C, A, E, C, B, A, G, D, F, D, F, F, D, B, A, G, D, F, D, F. Now pinky 5 on G. G, F, E, D, C, C. Very pretty. All right. Now that's excellent. That's the type of like focus practice that we're going to really have to do, right? Keep this song hands apart for like the first few days until you're comfortable, right? It might take several days to get comfortable with that right hand, but as you're reading carefully and analyzing each and every note and its position on the staff, it will get easier, right? It's like learning how to read for the first time. You have those things called sight words, right? So like think of your notes and note patterns as sight words, right? Once you know what it looks like, a certain interval, you see it and you'll know immediately that it's a third or immediately that it's a seventh, right? It takes that level of practice, right? Sight words, memorizing what intervals look like in your music, okay? You can do this. Let's switch over to our left hand now, okay? Remember I talked about this being like that pa, 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 waltz type of rhythm? It's gonna be that, okay? We're going to be doing this in our C position, so it's going to sound very, very similar to some of the other things that we've been learning too. Okay, let's give it a try. All right, I kind of gave y'all crazy eyes a little bit. Sometimes when I get really excited, I don't realize that I'm like so enthusiastic. Oh well, that's just who I am. Love it or hate it. Here we go with the left hand. I've got my pinky on C below middle C. This is a C position, right? That's finger 5. And then I'm starting with my third, my 1 and 3 on E and G. Now, I'm only going to be doing the chord Roman numeral names, right? And then we will see how this proceeds, right? The very last measure at the end of the song has pedals, so I will add it in when we get there, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. 1 chord. 1 chord. 1 chord. And a V7 chord. B7 chord, G7 chord, G7 chord, back to a 1 chord, line 3, 1 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord again, switch to a G7 chord, last line, G7 chord, G7 chord, G7 chord, and with a 1 chord and pedal. Ooh, that was nice. Yes. Okay, I hope you recognized those chords from all of those other songs that we've been learning in this position, right? So you realize now that this type of left hand pattern is not that tricky, okay? You also recognize the majority of your thinking for this song and learning is going to go in the right hand for this piece, okay? There's just a couple things to remember in the left hand, and then that's going to really be it. Once you start learning and you're comfortable with the right hand, you can attempt it hands together, okay? And once you're happy with it, hands together, then you can start remembering all the other stuff that makes it special, right? The tempo, right? Can't be too slow or people are going to fall down. The dynamics, right? It really gives it that feeling that it's a much more special song than just playing plain notes, right? And the ritardando at the end, right? The slowing down, the signaling to your dancers that they're going to have to do their final twirl and their bow, right? So that's all what we do as musicians here. Keep the music interesting to keep your audience interested, right? Okay, so let's do Cafe Vienna. I want you to listen. I'm going to play the whole thing through with dynamics and tempo all the way up. Listen carefully and follow in your music, okay? Let's do it. All right. Here we go. We're in piano view. Woohoo! For the final run through, we have Cafe Vienna on page 94. I sound like a baseball announcer or something. Here we go. I'm going to count off. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. It was really nice, huh? Not so bad. Yeah, I think it's going to be really great. Give yourself some time to learn it, okay? It might take you 1 week. It might take you 2. It might take you 3. But that's okay, right? No pressure here in my piano classes. You take as much time as you need. Whenever you want me to view your video, post it in the group and I will give you those feedback, okay? Feedback and comments and like suggestions and anything you need to make you feel better about your song, okay? Lovely work. Let's go ahead and talk reminder. Theory, you have page 93 to do for theory today, okay? Make sure you go over those sevenths and octaves in your book and turn back to that page whenever you have time to do the written work, all right? All right, one last thing here. Woohoo! Patreon. Yeah, so I talked a little bit about Patreon earlier. Again, it's just one of those things that makes it easy for you to support me and the work that I'm doing here week after week. Okay, you just pick a tier that works for you. I've got people that are paying $3 a month, perfectly fine. I've got some that are paying $50 a month. That's fine too. You just pick something that works for you, right? If you want these lessons to keep coming, which I hope to be able to keep doing this beyond 2020, right? We're here at the very end of October, but you know, I really have to make sure that this is going to be worth my time. So I want to make sure that whatever I'm bringing to you is being well received, okay? So help keep them coming. Visit patreon.com/IzzyChia. Pick a tier that works for you, and I will see you guys in there soon, okay? Great. And last but not least, we have our music quote, right? So our music quote is really great today. Our music quote today comes from the Japanese author Haruki Murakami. And this is what he says. Music brings a warm glow to my vision. Oh, goodness. Oh, yes, okay. I couldn't even read my own handwriting. Let me try that again. Oh, goodness, I just froze. Music brings a warm glow to my vision, thawing mind and muscle from their endless wintering. That was kind of funny, wasn't it? I like that quote. You know, it's all about like, you know, your brain and different things in your body. You might be in this endless winter in your mind. And the idea of music thawing that is like thawing your soul, thawing your mind, having you relax and rest and be at peace with yourself. It's a fantastic thing. Music has that power inside, right? So his words are just fantastic. I can't believe I literally froze when delivering this. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me for piano today. We had a good time. I hope to see y'all in the private group. Remember, tomorrow is the day where the private lesson tier is premiered. So if you want to grab that spot tomorrow, you need to do that. All right, sign in on Sunday, November the 1st, 2020, and you can find that private lesson tier and secure your spot, okay? I'll see you guys very soon. Take care. Bye.